scene in games that are really special. Or good movie can also help you have audience to connect to the actors, to the character in the film, but you know that you are not them. But when you play this kind of game, that drives cancer because all the characters has no face and no. Yeah, so sometimes you can easily connect yourself to the character there, so you can feel the experience there. I think those features are great. I think that Dragon Cancer is a great game. But the Gone Home, because I personally didn't play that one, and I personally don't play horror game, and I think that horror part, that creepy part, doesn't piss me off sometimes. Yeah, because it's not a horror game even, and I feel like when I watch the whole working through of Gone Home, I feel like most of the time player just go around, don't know what the hell I'm doing, but there's something I can pick up, or there's some notebook that I can read, so I read, I got the story, and I go to the next place. That's pretty straightforward. I'm pretty sure that Gone Home could be a film or written down script in that point. So that's my personal opinions. There are more stuff to see. Oh yeah, I feel like Gone Home is more like a text adventure game, but with virtualized graphic in there. That Dragon Cancer in fact has some little bit mini game, like you can drive cars, where you playing as a kid. There are some mini game in there trying to tell some experience. Yeah, that's the presentation analyzed.
Fantastic. Can we ask questions, or how does it normally work from here on out? Do we normally ask questions, or is there a discussion, or?
I think we ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I have some questions. Especially about that Dragon Cancer. That's the one I'm more familiar with than Gone Home. How do you feel like the subject relates to your lack of choice? So it's like the subject of this is cancer.
Mm-hmm.
How does that relate to the lack of choice within the game?
So the cancer stuff, the designer, they present that in a very abstract way, but you can actually see the cancer stuff. Like in the trailer and in the actual gameplay, there are some black and giant things growing all over the world. Sometimes you can see them, sometimes you cannot, but you know those are dangerous things. And there's a mini game in there that you need to control Joe, who is the kid, Joe. You control Joe to use balloon flying around, and you need to dodge those cancer black stuff. It's a mini game. So if you didn't dodge successfully, or the good thing of that, the kid will get hurt, and you will get feedback, sound feedback, he's suffering pain, and you can hear he's crying. But the character won't die. The character won't die, so the game won't restart. So it's more like that mini game is more like trying to make you feel that pain. It's not like punish you, like you have to finish the level. It's not like that. So in terms of options, because you won't die anyway. So I don't feel like it's an option, but I do feel great when I'm playing it, because I don't want the kid get hurt.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. That there's, at the end, he dies, right?
Yeah,
the kid
in the
dies.
end, it's the real events.
Yeah.
The kid does die, and more stuff beyond the kid dies is how that dies impact the parents,
Yeah.
how they, live that part, live that event, how they facing their rest life.
That's wonderful. It's obviously it's a great tragedy, but it's a perfect metaphor for cancer.
Yes.
It's like it gives you the illusion of control, just like the
Yes.
game. But at the end, you have no control, and the cancer wins no matter what.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I can see. I understand why you like this one better.
Yeah, I feel like that Dragon Cancer, for someone and for me, it feels like an artistic
Yeah,
works,
yeah.
artistic games.
Absolutely. That you couldn't do in a movie, like you were
Yes.
saying.
They do have a documentary of
Mm.
how the developer they suffered this and what's the experience they have. Like when they started to do the game, the kid Joe not passed away yet.
Yeah.
During the development, the kid passed away. So
Yeah.
that documentary is something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
And I remember that Dragon Cancer when the game award most impact game last year,
Yeah.
perhaps. Or,
Yeah, something like that.
I'm not sure. Did I mention that those two games? They are all indie games, publisher and developer. Also.
That's interesting. What do you think about that? That they're both indie games.
I feel like an indie game they have more freedom to choose the topic, to choose the genre, so they can do whatever thing they want. They don't really care the payoff, so they can do some weird stuff and they can do very artistic stuff too. They are innovative.
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 Yeah. Absolutely, they can innovate. Do you know if these games actually made money or not?
They sell for money, but I'm not sure the budget, so I'm not sure
Okay.
did they get money success, business success. But I think that Dragon Cancer did great.
Sure.
And Gone Home is a pretty early working simulator game. Gone Home is published in 2013, I believe. So at that time period, there's not that many working simulator games yet. So Gone Home is the one of the game that invited or shaped the working simulator. This feature games is one of that early game.
Great.
Well,
Questions?
It's not actually a question, it's just
Sure.
a comment about the Dragon Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might say that it's just lazy, low poly characters, but I think that as there is in many animes that are out right now, they leave a lot to your imagination. So you fill in those gaps, and since you actually have to fill them in, you get more connected with the character you see, because that character that you see does not belong to the game or to the one who made the game. It belongs to you now, because that is
Belong to your imagination. So
it belongs to you completely.
Yeah, so that's a great part.
Yeah.
But I personally don't like their models the models sometimes we were shaping and they were shaking.
The
It's like
animation
laggy.
looks weird.
Yeah, that's when that little boy playing on there. Is
Oh, I see.
yeah, I'm not sure is that a design. It had a design purpose or not.
I'm pretty sure that is on purpose.
Yeah. I
It
don't
would
know.
take more effort to make that happen than just to make it static.
I don't know. But
Also,
when I first play, I feel it's weird.
I think just because of the premise of the game, it would be really hard for people to say it's a bad game.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah,
You're talking with someone
nobody's
it's
gonna
a
say.
horrible game, they'll be like, what? What kind
yeah.
of person are you?
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah,
good thing.
I won't say it has a bad story, but it's not like a very competitive game or a game that you can enjoy and have fun on it. It's most likely a game that you need to sit down and really climb down to watch the story.
Also,
It's a different one.
here's the problem with things like this. Do you remember how long it took you to play this game?
Oh yeah, you have zero replay value. The
But
whole
how
gameplay
long?
is like 1 hour, 2 hours, and that's it
Okay.
for $20.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I thought because, there's many games that would be great movies, but they're just too long. That's why they make them games instead of movies.
That's
example,
wonderful. So do you understand what he's getting at? He's getting at a question of pacing, right?
Yeah.
Is the pacing of a book is different than the pacing of a movie is different than the pacing of a game.
Yeah.
So how did you, if you want to speak to pacing a little bit in these games and what games afford to pacing as opposed to movies?
I feel like it has more gentle or slower pacing than a movie in your room.
Why?
Because most of the time in this game you can stop in a point. You cannot following the storyline. You have to in some point, but in some time you can just sit down in a room and interact with the kid. And you can go around to see some note card that is actually written down by real person in real life. They send it to Joe, to the kid, to hope he will be better. And developer put those cards into the game. I really sit down there and enjoy, but not enjoy, but you can watch the scene there.
Absolutely.
So it's not rushing you. You have to follow this storyline right now. They don't force you. I feel that.
Yeah. The player chooses the pacing, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the player chooses the pacing, which is a very interesting choice that I think a lot of times is overlooked in games. That was great. That's a really good point to bring up. Yeah. Any other thoughts? No?
One more thing is that Dragon Castle has some religious thoughts of Jesus in the end of the game. I don't know that part, so I don't understand that part. But I think that means a lot for the developer and the religious people.
Oh, interesting. How was it seeing religion in a game like that? Because normally that's kind of a rare thing. We see religion a lot in movies and obviously a lot in books. I feel like religion isn't touched on as much in games.
Yeah, so there's...
Yeah, he was bringing up...
by the way, that's the scene that you control the ball.
That's
you have to dodge those cancer. Yeah, but the control is kind of weird, so you are not really engaged.
You mean the part where they talk about the boat?
The boat with Jesus, right?
Yeah, on the board.
Yeah, I remember.
I hated how they left the story halfway. But
that
just says
that was definitely the point.
Yeah, in fact, that's the end point for the whole game. When the Joel passed away and the parents they encourage each other. In the very end of the game, there's abstract environment that you don't know you are who are you the father or are you Joy. You need to go that church and stay down there, and this was like a 6 candle in the church. That must have some religious meaning, but I don't get it, so I didn't figure out the puzzle and I quit there. It is a puzzle. Like
there was what?
6 candle. That you
6?
6 candle. It's really hard to describe that scene, but that has some meaning, perhaps.
Do you know what 6 candles mean?
Catholicism, nothing.
Judaism? No, it's definitely Catholic. Or I think it's, if I remember correctly, they were Protestant, if I remember. So they're a little more, but yeah, I'm not sure.
That will take too long if I try to find that scene.
Yeah, no worries. You don't need to find the scene. Wonderful. Great. All right. Any other comments? All right. Great. Cool.